everybody. So I'm Caroline, and once again, I am going to be throwing my parents under the bus, or the car, as it is in this situation. So just to be clear, my parents are wonderful people. They are the kind of people that would give you the shirt off their back. But if my dad gave you his shirt, you would definitely hand it back because it would be filled with holes. And if my mom gave you her shirt, she would take it back so that she could wash it, dry it, and then iron it before giving it back to you. But then she would probably decide that the shirt was too old, so then she'd go to the store and buy you an entirely new shirt, and then pants to go with it, and probably shoes and socks. But the idea is there. The want to give you the shirt is there. So the last time I saw my parents, they actually came down to visit me. They live in New York. I live in New Jersey. So they actually drove down to visit me because I needed them to bring back a whole bunch of stuff that I had shipped to their house. And so they were bringing it all to me because the post office is not good at my apartment. It's just terrible. So they brought me all this stuff down, and we decided we were going to go hiking. But because I live in New Jersey, in order to go hiking anywhere that's not like a dirty park, you have to drive there. And because I live in Jersey City, which is basically a mole on the face of New York City, it's a very crowded, highway-ridden area. So in order to get anywhere actually nice, you have to drive over a lot of highways. And my dad doesn't like driving on highways. Whenever my dad is driving on highways, he elicits noises that are very much linked to the genetic male lineage of the Dunn family. All of his brothers also make these array of sounds when they are under duress or stressed out. Some of them are kind of like the sputtering of an engine. So it's kind of, it's like he's trying to maneuver into another lane. It's just this kind of like, which that one's really fun when it catches you off guard. The other one is kind of like the signature noise of the Dunn boys, which is this grunt. I hear this a lot, especially when he's concentrating, either while driving or doing any other number of activities, including talking to you. It just is kind of like, and sometimes like you can hear that there might be words being vocalized somewhere in his throat, but they're not quite reaching the exit point. So you can't understand anything, even though he might be thinking he's actually communicating. It's just this horrible and then one of my favorites is when another driver cuts in front of you unexpectedly. There's this sharp intake, and then this, and that one was the most prolific of all the noises he made during this trip. Because if you've ever driven in New Jersey, no one drives like a regular human being, and no one uses any blinkers or directionals. There is no ability to know what people are doing. They're just sliding around, doing the Jersey slide from one end of the highway across 4 lanes, not looking, just turning that wheel. So there was a lot of going on throughout the 20-minute trip to get to an actual place that was, well, not foresty, less urban. There was still enough glass on the ground that you knew that there were probably a herd of teenagers hiding in the woods, drinking some beer at night, but it was less urban. We had to drive there, and then because my parents love me so much, they didn't want me to take an Uber back to my house, despite the fact that it probably would have been less anxiety provoking than listening to my father go the entire ride. So as we're driving back, we happen to be under an overpass when we get a red light. So we're stopped at this red light, and there's a woman walking down the middle of the 2 lanes of cars, carrying bags of some green fruit, vegetable, unclear. And she's clearly selling these things, trying to get people to buy them. And my mom asked me, well, Caroline, are those limes? Is she selling limes? And I'm like, no, because they're like these little like baby lime things. They're like somewhere between the size of a marble and a ping pong ball. These weird little green things. They look like little baby limes. And I'm like, no, it's something else. I don't know what it is, but it's something else. And then she goes, well, do you think we should buy some? This is my mother, the woman who would tell me to never walk without keys in your hand, to always make sure if you're pulling out your wallet that you aren't showing money, to make sure that once you enter the car, you're locking the door to stay safe. My mother is now saying, let's roll down the window and invite this strange woman to lob some mystery produce at us, and then we'll hand her some money in exchange. Now I'm worried, because she, in my opinion, was always the one who was the safer of my 2 parents. My dad likes to clamber on roofs when he's home alone. He's the one who likes to crawl under cars while nobody's around. This man has passed out multiple times due to injuries he's given himself, including getting a fish hook stuck in his head. And she's the one who is now suggesting that we roll down the window and exchange currency for strange fruits under a bridge. So now I'm worried because I don't know who the safe one in this situation is anymore. I don't know if I should be more worried about my mother talking to random strangers, exchanging foodstuffs with them, or if I should be worried about my dad putting himself in dangerous situations. Or do I now need to worry about the combo where they're going to invite strange people over to climb on roofs? Any combination of these things could happen. So anyway, a home's not far off for the 2 of them. They will go together though. That's the nice thing. And that's it for me.